So I would look at chords, knowing your chords, because your chords dictate where you're going to go with solos, right? So if you want to learn how to do solos, right? So I'll use like a C major 13, right? Right, so I have my 13 here, my 9 in there, my major 7, right? Major 3rd, right? So if I want to solo on a C major, solo in a major key, you use motifs, they call motifs, the mini melodies. That's what they call in jazz. So you hear, right? So you hear runs. So it starts out with like only a few notes, maybe 6 or 7 notes. Right? So that's one motif. And you should always know how to. You should be able to sing them, even if you're not a singer. You should, you know. Notice that that's really those notes. Right. And it goes with it, you know, the same major chord in every key. Right? So right, so that's one, or you can go even from B down to G chromatic. Start to learn, because all these things are there. It's just a matter of bringing them out of the cracks, you know, these templates. Right? So that's like three different motifs tied together.
You're playing a piece of each one.
Right. So what I do is I link them. We start to link it. That's where you hear people solo. You're like, dang, how do they remember all this? It's little mini, you learn these little mini, yeah, you learn these little mini phrases.
Now, would you say you came out of that? You spent hours. Let's say that 13. While you were doing the motifs, did you consider that you come out of it? Like when I hear guys, I can hear whatever they're doing, and then it seems like they're pulling you over here and bringing you back into.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you can also do like you go a half step where you can go out and come back in, right? So. Right. Right. Because and what I did is I used what they call there's like really 3 diminished scales. I mean, you know, each one starts at its respective notes, but fingering wise, there's really just 3 on the keyboard, right? So. Right. They're great for like intros, you know, like a. Right, it's not one long thing. did, right? The minor one, we didn't go over yet, but for the major chords.
So with the minor, what you said did go, could you still do the fourth down, the major, the fourth down of that same
Oh yeah, so. Let's say that same movement, right? That's for the major. I could actually use that on a minor chord, like an A minor. Especially relative to C, what happens is when you go F is basically the same. that gets. So what happens is it starts to slowly, gradually get a little different as you go. You know, you start to get more black notes added into the run. So your fingering changes slightly. So that's another good reason. I never even thought about that, but yeah, that's actually true. You actually gradually change your fingering, which helps to transition you to the fingering as you take it around the keyboard, right? All the fours and stuff. So
It's a gradual change.
right. So the key thing is knowing your scales, and that helps you with the physical. So you get the physical up to a point where you can work with it. And you don't have to be super fluent, but as long as you get your fingering together, and you can continue to work on it because you want your fingers to get to a point where you have the strength, so you can move, if you want to move, if someone's moving, and then you start to learn the little templates, the motif templates. Into like little exercise. I started with the B actually, but the real motif really starts here. But so use the B to get started. So basically, I started linking them. So like if I'm playing like a straight ahead tune or something, right? So like this thing called Plavos. Right? So that's like the movement, right? And then you can leave, the standard tempo. Right, so on the 7th, that's 4. Diminished. Right, so that's the entry. So as I'm doing it now, you can start to pull out. It's like I know, because as we start to break it down, those templates are being linked together. Yeah. They call them motifs in general.
Standing out.
You can do a half step up, Like you were talking about, you hear your cats go out of key a little bit, and then they resolve it. That's another technique. A lot of times it's either half step down or half step up. So. Out of key. That motif was I was actually opening up and just using the F major chord of the note.
Okay.
So based on the really the bass chord, and then that can determine where you go. And then there's different other moves. It's basically diminished, right? Diminished chords, right? I basically took the 4th note chords and rolled them to the diminished chord. So that's another, another thing that we do. Now you can start to, I know what you're doing, you know.
It's better than thinking of it all in one thing. That's
Right, yeah, you can't. What happens is everything breaks down, you know, just like molecules. All this stuff breaks down to some basic.
That's a loan. That's a big part.
It depends on how fast you're going. Right? This is where I roll. Somebody here, you know, like sax players, trumpet players, really good. They have like good minds because they really know what they're doing. We're keyboard players. We can see what we're playing. Oh yeah,
Like this one speaks to me in a particular way.
I love the oh, I do too.
Absolutely incredible talent.